Hey everyone, another year, another worst games of the year video. 2022 was something special, man. There was a lot that happened this year.
Oh my god!
Want a break from the
Whopper.
My Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton.
Taco Bell?
As tradition, I'm here to recap some of the worst titles of the year. So just a quick disclaimer before we get started, I'm only really covering games that I've played this year or have closely followed. As always, this is just my opinion. I don't even really completely believe that all of the games on this list are horrible, just maybe incredibly disappointing. If you disagree, that's fine. People are entitled to their own opinion, no matter how incorrect they are. Anyway, here are my picks for the worst games of the year. Why not kick off the list with a reboot? Reboots are always interesting to talk about. Some work really well, like God of War 2018 or Doom 2016, and then there are games like Saints Row 2022. I'll admit, the only Saints Row game I've played is Saints Row 3, so I don't really have that much stock in this franchise, but that being said, I always thought of this as the goofy version of Grand Theft Auto, and to be honest, one of the only GTA copycats that I think actually held its own. It never reached the same heights as GTA, but it definitely had its fans, so naturally, after a 7-year hiatus, people were pretty excited to see the Saints Row franchise return. After it was confirmed to be a reboot, I was pretty interested to see what new takes the developers would bring. Maybe a shift in gameplay, some new inventive mechanics, memorable characters, or, you know, a decent f***ing game. Unfortunately, we didn't really get any of that. Instead of leaning into the wackiness and absurdity that makes Saints Row unique, it seems that developers chose to tone down the game a bit in favor of making it into a more generic third-person shooter for some reason. What? Why? Why did you decide to take away the very thing that gave your franchise an identity? And the thing is, you knew that being over the top was what made Saints Row great. I know this because you leaned into that during your marketing campaigns. I mean, like, look at this. You know what the people want. Why did you blue ball us like this? Instead of this game being a breath of fresh air, we got a generic, boring, buggy mess of a game. A disappointing story backed by very hit or miss jokes.
Goddamn fucking shit, crap, son of a bitch ass, wipe, piss, wipe, crap, and crap.
Congrats, Saints Row. Somehow, you were able to try too hard and not enough at the same time. Hopefully this game can get cleaned up a bit and salvage the fans' respect. God, I really don't want this to be the final Saints Row game. What a disappointment. Oh Jesus, speaking of disappointments. Activision Blizzard, what the hell is wrong with you guys? I feel like I ask this every year, and I still don't have an answer. This is not a sequel. This is not a game. This is a glorified update. I'm a fairly new Overwatch fan, so I may not have noticed the subtle differences that Blizzard made during the transition to Overwatch 2, but I can't imagine what casual gamers thought of this sequel. Seriously, when I heard there was going to be an Overwatch 2, I thought it was a joke, like when people say that there's going to be a Minecraft 2, or a Portal 3, or a Grand Theft Auto 6. Just pipe dreams, that ain't real. I mean, why would they release a sequel if they can just continuously update the current title anyway? I get it. They must have some crazy idea that's gonna completely change the way Overwatch fans play the game. What? So you took one of the most popular games in the world and decided that making it worse was a good idea? In what ways is this an improvement from the core Overwatch experience? If anything, they've taken away content here. They removed the 6v6, which of course is going to throw a game like Overwatch's meta off. You could have at least eased people into it by adding 5v5 and then slowly weaning people away from 6v6. And then, the game was so broken and unbalanced that they had to straight up remove some heroes from the game until they could get it fixed. You are removing content! Well, at least they added some new characters and cool looking skins. $20 for a skin bundle should be considered a felony. Oh, here's the best part. The launch of the game was almost completely inaccessible due to the servers crashing, a DDoS attack, and then insanely long queue times. Oh, you were able to log in? Well, congrats. As a reward, you can have access to the Overwatch 2 default skins for your heroes. And that's it, because our store is broken and for some reason, our billion-dollar company can't figure out how to sync Overwatch 1 accounts with Overwatch 2. Oh, and while we're talking about accounts, you'll also need to register a non-prepaid phone number in order to play the game. Isn't this sequel great? Oh man, this one hurts. It's been years since Arkham Knight, and honestly, I'm still not over it. I miss it. So, when I heard about Gotham Knights, I got instantly hyped. I love Batman and his huge gallery of rogues. On the surface, this game seems like the obvious sequel to the Arkham series, a world where Batman is gone and the next generation of heroes needs to step up. In this game, you have the choice to play as either Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, or Red Hood. Turns out, for some reason, this is completely separate from the Arkhamverse and made by Warner Bros. Games Montreal instead of Rocksteady. WB Games Montreal has a pretty decent track record of games, including their own Batman title and Batman Arkham Origins, so who knows, maybe this is the breath of fresh air that gamers need. A superhero co-op game set in Gotham City sounds awesome. Not to mention the story focusing around the legendary Court of Owls. Now, that makes for a compelling narrative. This sucks. Because I actually think that the creative story choices in this game were pretty cool, and I'm glad they went for a co-op superhero game that allows players to share this story, but at the same time, doesn't mandate it. But this game has some serious issues that cannot be overlooked. The mechanics aren't as polished as the Rocksteady Arkham series. The fighting, it seems a little bit off, almost like you're slower than the other Batman games. I like how they implemented a skill tree in Gotham Knights, giving each hero their own special ability, and I get why they did this, trying to keep the game balanced and encouraging players to try other knights, but it makes me miss Batman, you know, because Batman is able to do all of these things that these heroes do. Well, almost.
Wimp.
I also feel like there's a lack of imagination when it comes to the small things. Like, you know, instead of the Batmobile flying in from around the corner like it would in Arkham Knight, you get a hologram bike to show up in some cases, and then driving on top of that feels so sluggish and gross. Getting around Gotham should be one of the highlights of the game, and instead it feels like a chore to get from point A to point B. The boss fights also seem pretty uninspired and honestly not that unique. Batman has a massive rogue gallery. There's no point in bringing back the same ones over and over again. Sure, maybe a few popular ones here and there, but come on, I want to see Oracle's arch nemesis, the Calculator, goddammit. I was also pretty disappointed that they strayed into the modern looter genre where a bunch of side missions kind of seem like collectathons, but at least they stayed away from the microtransactions. I will say, the amount of customization in this game is really, really cool. There are some seriously awesome skins in this game. Man, I want to like this game so badly, and honestly, I wouldn't blame someone for enjoying this game. There is a lot of good in here. Despite the frame rate being capped at 30 FPS, even on current gen consoles, the game looks pretty. Its biggest blunder to me is that it wants to be different from the Arkham series, but yet relies heavily on what makes the Arkham series so great. Does that make sense? It's one of those titles that may not actually be the worst game ever, but it's just really disappointing. Oh, well, if it isn't the poster child of disappointing titles. No, I probably shouldn't have went into this game expecting anything more than a Wii Sports remake with some updated graphics, and to be honest, if that's what we got, I probably would have been okay with it. Instead, we had to pay $40 for a Nintendo sports game that had less content than the original pack-in Wii Sports title. Someone needs to stop Nintendo. The success of the Switch has got them way too comfortable, man. This is ridiculous. Granted, I am just as guilty as everyone else because I keep buying this shit for some reason. God, what's wrong with me? The game has some great positives like new game modes and pretty smooth and responsive gameplay, but there's just a serious lack of content here for $40. Oh, by the way, doesn't this soccer shootout mode look pretty cool? Yeah, that'll be an extra $10 for the leg strap. Are you kidding me? This is a next level paywall, Nintendo.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Oh, you heard people complaining about the lack of content and decided to add in golf, something that was included in the original Wii Sports? Good for you, I'm glad to hear you're listening to your customers. these are the same holes from Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. What are you guys doing over there that required you to take months to essentially copy and paste the game mode over? Look, I'm no game developer, but I don't understand why it took so long to do so little. If this game was a pack-in title like the original Wii Sports, then I would be putting it as one of the best games of the year, but it's not. Nintendo really charges $40 to play a downgraded version of a pack-in game from over a decade ago. I need to learn self-control. I gotta quit buying everything with a Nintendo seal of approval slapped on the cover. This is a good game. This is a good game. This is a great game, even. So great that Sony remastered it 1 year after its initial release for the PS4. Normally, I would say that is way too freaking early for a remaster, but I guess it was done for a new console generation, so I guess that's okay. The game should be pretty future-proof for a while now, right, Sony? Right, Sony? Okay, what's going on here? Why are we remaking a game from the ground up when it's not even 10 years old? And on top of that, this was already remastered once. Is there some groundbreaking gameplay mechanic that you're just dying to implement? I just don't understand why Sony felt the need to remaster this game for $70. I get that new PS5 games are selling for $70, but this game isn't new. Yes, it's incredible, but why does this exist? I get that they want to capitalize on HBO's Last of Us show, and apparently they wanted a definitive edition of the game for their shiny brand new console, but I still have so many questions. For instance, why are you billing this game as a remake when you're not really remaking anything here? Okay, so you say you're building the game from the ground up. What? What does that mean? What the hell are you talking about? You have the base game made. As far as I can tell, there are no new dialogue additions, no new major gameplay mechanics, no new animations or cinematics, and no new content. In fact, they removed the multiplayer portion of the game that was included in both of the original Last of Us releases. I guess they included the DLC in this game, but that should be a given considering it's been years since its initial release. Why are you saying this game is a remake when all you're really doing is updating the graphics and changing a few quality of life mechanics? The only thing these guys are remaking is a boatload of money. Yes, the game is amazing. It was incredible in 2013 and it's still incredible now. But why are we doing this? Okay, at least why are we doing this for $70 freaking dollars? This isn't a game where you have to build everything from scratch, despite Naughty Dog and Sony trying to say that's what they did. You already have the skeleton of this game built. You have the story, you have the voice lines, you have the gameplay mechanics and puzzles already planned out. This game is like 80% done already. Why are we charging $70? For context, you can buy Horizon Zero Dawn for $70, a game that is a sequel which brings new story elements, gameplay innovations, and freaking robot dinosaurs into the game. Okay, the robot dinosaurs aren't new to the franchise, but you get my point. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't adding or changing anything that could justify the $70 price tag. Look, if you're one of the few people out there who's never played The Last of Us and have a PS5 and want to play the absolute best version of this game, then yes, go for The Last of Us Part 1. I don't think you'll regret it because it is a fantastic game and an incredible experience. But if you are literally anyone else who doesn't fall into all three of those categories, ask yourself, is $70 really worth it for this game? A game that still looks great on the PS4 version and can be found for a hell of a lot cheaper than $70. You might be better off just sticking with the PS4 remastered version, honestly. At the end of the day, this is not a bad game. It's just not a good deal. Oh Lord, give me strength. Oh boy. I cannot believe that this shit came out this year. This piece of fucking shit, buggy ass excuse for a game is so freaking. Ugh! Okay, so what? Another buggy game released this year. This happens all the time. Why are we pooping our pants over this? Because this is the highest grossing media franchise of all time. You have unlimited money. What are you doing? Did you just hire these developers off the street? This is absolutely unacceptable. And don't you dare blame it on the Switch's hardware. Yes, the Switch is very outdated and comparatively very weak when it comes to, its graphics and stuff, but look at this. These games look incredible. For God's sake, the Switch can run f***ing Crysis. There's cool stuff in here. But the performance and countless other problems just completely overshadow the positives of this game for me. You know what? I blame us. This is our fault as gamers. We keep buying this shit, even when it's very clearly f***ing horrible. God damn it, this game set a record for Pokemon and Nintendo as the fastest selling title on the Switch. Guys, we need to communicate. We must work together here. Curb your Pokemon obsession and quit buying these games. Do literally anything else. Pick up a hobby. Get addicted to drugs. Or, if you're really desperate, play Genshin Impact. Just don't buy shit games from billion-dollar companies. They will never learn. Ugh. Inexcusable. Okay, dishonorable mentions. Here we go. Oh man. This pains me to say this, but the Callisto Protocol did not live up to the hype. It's a good Dead Space knockoff, but not much more than that. It has an absolutely immaculate vibe, but the controls are a bit wonky and unfortunately completely unplayable on PC. Still looks incredible though. One other dishonorable mention, Far Cry 6. No, it didn't come out this year, but I bought it a couple months ago on sale and I absolutely fucked myself for it. I swear to God, every Far Cry game is the same. I don't care that Gus is in this game, alright? It still sucks ass, and I'm pissed that I paid money for it.
I was acting. Or was I?
Alright, okay, so all in all, there weren't too many games that I could think of for this list, if I'm being completely honest. I truly believe that there were more good games this year than there were bad. That being said, these turds do not get a pass.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
2023 is looking really bright though for the video game industry, and honestly, I cannot wait to see what this year brings us. Thank you guys as always for watching. I hope you had a great year. I appreciate you, and I will catch you in the next one.